What's going on, everybody? ADHDnDad here. Welcome. Today we're here to talk about Godforge, and specifically the dungeons in Godforge. And joining me today is another awesome content creator. If you guys don't know him already, make sure to go check out some of his videos. This is BradBodGaming. Welcome. Thanks for being here today. Or tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yes, I know, tonight for us. I'm excited to talk dungeons. I'm excited to collab with another content creator that's doing Godforge stuff. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, I think there's some cool ideas we kind of have to work through, right? As far as the dungeons go.
Yeah, for sure. So, for everybody watching, we're going to start out. I'm just going to talk about from the Godforge beta and getting to experience the dungeons ourselves, what felt good about them. So to start, I'll just say that I think the overall art style of the bosses themselves looked really cool. And I was even thinking about if there were like animations I would change. And as I was stepping into the one with the samurai, I was like, oh, it'd be cool if he like sliced his way into the battlefield. And that's exactly what he did. Just cut a slice in the rift and surged. I was like, yep, we're on the same page, Fateless. Well done. So, art, aesthetics, really good. First positive. How about you?
Yeah, I like the art too. I think what I liked about it, and this was something that Simon had said either to Ramsey or Sneaky Ramsey when they had him on, was that the Ascension dungeons are like relatively simplistic, but I think that that's the point. I think part of what we did for the beta, this first beta, was we're hyper focused on campaign and the dungeons because that's all that was available to us. But I think when we get to beta 2 or early access or whatever, it's going to be okay to have those Ascension dungeons be a little more simplistic to get the newer players, have the ability to understand, okay, this is how a dungeon works. You do 2 waves and then you get to the boss, and the boss has certain mechanics, and if they have minions attached to them, when you kill one, something happens. So I think it's a good introduction. So I felt like that was good, but I liked the overall variety. With that in mind, I liked the overall variety. I liked Hag's Hollow, Svarog's Horde, Workshop of Ptah being having unique mechanics that were more complex and got more difficult to deal with over time. But I also like the Ascension dungeons and just knowing, okay, just kill the 2 minions and then go hard on the boss. I think that was pretty cool. And like you said, I think the animations are really cool too. But that was the first thing that really stuck out to me, was it really ramps you up. And I know for us hardcore gamers, we want more challenge, more nuance and everything, but I think it's okay to have those intro dungeons, if you will, which kind of is what those Ascension dungeons were.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, especially considering the Ascension seemed like a pretty important resource to acquire, to really, because that's how you get your passive, and then eventually weapon attunement unlocking, I believe, is at 4, which attunement maybe could be less important, but your passive can definitely be extremely important, especially on particular champions. So definitely a critical resource to not want to be locked out from having, which they've also addressed well in their conversion system. So they've really thought of a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely agree.
Yeah, definitely.
I really echo that the Workshop of Ptah, Svarog's Horde, and Hag's Hollow all felt like I had to bring a different team. Early game, it obviously didn't matter as much, but eventually it really did require bringing a team tuned to dealing with the kind of abilities. And honestly, I think all of them, I didn't get super, super high in the Ascension dungeons, but when I did start to get farther, I was like, okay, like this is hard. And it seems like it's hard because there's this mechanic that this boss is doing, and my team doesn't have a way to deal with that. And in a game where gear swapping is free, and I'm encouraged to build out so many different kinds of gear sets, I think that's going to be really, really cool in feeling good and confident about trying a lot of different builds and not feeling like I have to just build one perfect team that is a one size fits all.
Yeah, exactly. And the risk behind having them so different and needing different teams is do you have the heroes that can do it? But
Mhm.
we had 200 plus heroes. There was plenty of, they talked about the lock and key. There's plenty of keys for these dungeons. Like I did multiple videos, and I talked with Mr. Sneaky on some of them about all the rares that you could bring
Yeah.
to do the function, whether it's placing stalwart so the hag doesn't disable you,
Mhm.
or just removing buffs, or doing disables, whatever it is. Like
Mhm.
there were plenty of heroes that could do that.
Yeah.
So having the need for multiple teams, I think, is fine for the dungeons that we had, because there's lots of heroes that you can acquire that could help get you through it, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, I forget who was
Yeah.
doing a video with Simon as an interview, but I think he was talking about that specific idea and how they really have tried really hard to make sure that there's really a hero in every rarity that does something, but the legendary one is clearly better, but that you're not going to be locked out of content. Like you said, there's a key. It's just maybe a little rustier, and
Right.
maybe takes a little more wiggling to get into the keyhole, but it's gonna unlock the door if you put in the time and the resources. So that felt good for sure. So we kind of already talked about it, but maybe transitioning into what didn't feel so good about dungeons was, and I know I saw a lot of people talking about it, the fact that you do have 2 waves you clear before you get to the actual boss. Hitting, I think it was like stage 8 or 9 for me, I couldn't even get past the wave, or at least it would wipe out 2 of my people, and then my team fell apart by the time I hit the boss, and I just got smacked. So I wasn't even trying to deal with the boss mechanic as much as I was just trying to beat up all the minions and peons before them that were not peons. They were beating the tar out of me.
Right.
Which early game could be a beta balancing. Who knows? But that definitely felt a little frustrating.
Yeah, I would agree, because I mean, you shouldn't beat the boss in one stage and then get wiped by the first wave of the next stage. Like that seemed a little unbalanced. And also, and again, maybe it's the result of us being only focused on dungeon and campaign, but I don't want the first 2 waves of the dungeon just to feel like, okay, it's more of campaign basically, because you're just doing waves, right, to get to the boss.
Yeah.
So, CC, or crowd control was big. Scotty with a lot of freezes and stuff. Like, so to just bring Scotty just so that she can freeze the first 2 waves as much as possible to get to the final boss, just so I can get through it.
Right.
So yeah, that definitely felt like maybe the biggest pain point of the dungeons, because I've said in videos before, I've talked to different people about, like, I took that first week off of work for the beta, and I just dove super hard, tried to get as far as I could, grinding a lot. So I got to 11 or 12 with all the dungeons.
Dang, well done.
Which was tough, but I think I got to 12 through all the Ascension dungeons. But yeah, even just, again, it was the waves were just as challenging as the actual boss, or more so, to get through it. There's clearly some balance that I think needs to be done there. So I agree, that was maybe my first pain point with the dungeons in general.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know if I really had another one. I didn't feel like any of the boss mechanics were too hard. Like maybe Svarog's Horde, not being able to bring any buffs because he just eats them and then gets tankier and hits harder. That definitely got hard, and it felt like at a point, like, I just need an incredibly strong single target team that also can stay alive. So I need like a super healer, but not one that's putting mend. It can't be like an overall status. It just has to be an immediate heal, and then a bunch of single target nukers. Which, okay, like, that's a mechanic, but it was hard.
Yeah, I think Despair is a disable that could help a lot with that, as far as blocking buffs. But even if you had Corrupt, for example, like, you would steal the buffs from him. So you better have a fast team that after you stole it, you ran multiple turns so he didn't steal it back from you, right?
Right, right. And when he steals them, it increases that like stack for him or whatever, and it just goes up infinitely.
Yeah, and so Svarog's Horde, I think, was the only one I didn't get to 12 because I just didn't have enough time to build that team or figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Efficiently enough.
Mhm.
I guess the other thing for me, and it's related to the dungeons, and it's just the rifts, because I definitely really like the rifts, and I think, you have to have the waves to get to the boss to have the potential to open up a rift.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was like the keys, just which keys were rare versus epic versus legendary was kind of confusing, or when they popped up or how to use them. But then Ra was just too easy.
But yeah, you just smacked that.
I think
it was so easy to get through.
Yeah, it was typically a one shot, and I feel like they know that, and they know that it was too easy. So I know that they're gonna address that, but I don't even know if I would have a suggestion per se for the rifts, because I think it's like 90% there as far as it's cool, and then that's how you get pages. So you can bank your keys, and then you can use them when you're confident, and there's that risk versus reward. So really good concept. But yeah, Ra was there wasn't a lot of risk, because Ra was just a one shot, basically. So if you could get through the wave.
Right. Yeah. If anything, it almost just like messed up my ability timing sometimes, because like, okay, I've speed tuned my team to a degree that when they get to this point, they have their ultimates to get through the next wave, to get to the boss and finish him. But now they just punched Ra in the face, and I just wasted 2 ultimates, and now wave 2 killed me. So
yeah, you gotta go manual when the rifts pop up, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's your basics. That's a good point. Right. That's a good point. I forgot about that. They happen so infrequently, or so quickly rather. They weren't even on the screen for like 10 seconds. Ra just got punched. And whereas with all other things, I feel like if I autoed it, my characters didn't prioritize the boss. They would prioritize killing the minions and then move to the boss. But for Ra, on auto, they just punched Ra right away. And then that ended. You didn't even have to deal with the minions. It was like, he needs to be harder. The minions don't need to be there. Something. But like, I agree with what you said. Getting having the mechanic to get the pages, the concept is there. It just needs some tweaking for sure.
Yeah.
So, kind of branching off of that, then we're talking about needing those early waves in part to have the rifts. It's also in part to be able to time your abilities, to warm up your ultimates. That being one of the pain points. This is really just kind of a total offshoot, but what kind of, if there's any new change about dungeons, whether it just be fun, thematic, actually with core mechanics, anything like that, are there any creative, unique ideas that you would bring to dungeons, specifically all of them holistically, anything at all?
I don't know. I was thinking what might be cool. So tweaking the wave, so that's not the biggest challenge per stage, is not unique, but it's something that I think would make them a lot more appealing. But I was just thinking about this as we were kind of talking about what we're going to talk about for this collab here. I think it would be cool, like when you get to the boss, like if a certain dungeon down the road, or even some of these dungeons being tweaked, like if you go through with only 4 heroes, or maybe with 5, and then when you get to the boss, like on the final stage, the hardest one, you can grab a hero from your roster and bring them in, like a 5th, like reinforcements or something, or like a 6th, just to push you through. Like maybe that's like the reward of the final stage of that, like stage 15, right, or something like that. Like, I don't know. I think that'd be really cool and like kind of unique. Or if one of your heroes dies along the way, when you get to that boss stage, then you can bring someone else in their place, like a backup, right?
Yeah,
or something like that. So I don't know. I thought that'd be kind of a cool thing to change it up, and like, I get through all 14 stages barely, and then when I get to that 15th stage, the boss does this. I wish I just had one more person that could do this thing.
Yeah.
Then you can bring them, right? I thought that'd be kind of cool. So
yeah, I actually really like that idea.
Unique thing, I guess.
I think that's awesome. I hadn't even specifically thought of that, because that also gives, depending on how many, like maybe you have a whole nother roster, maybe it's half a roster, some swaps, but that would really offer the opportunity to really ramp up the challenge of dungeons if you're able to bring a more a wider ranged outfitted team. Then you could have more mechanics, and so that I think actually leans really well into the one of the ideas that I had for dungeons, and that is to turn dungeons into Paragon bosses. And for anybody watching who doesn't know what a Paragon boss is, it's another name for just a multi-phase fight. Like if you played any Souls-like games, Elden Ring, things like that, where you fight the boss, you knock it down all the way to 0, and it gets all its health back again. And you go into phase 2, and it's got new abilities, and it's a little bit harder, maybe some new mechanics. It's not generally completely veering off of its core mechanics, but it's just harder. It adds a new layer of challenge. And I thought that could be cool. It could be implemented a couple different ways. It could just be for all 15 stages of the dungeons. You could always have an opportunity for Paragon bosses. Or, that I think makes a little bit more sense, is honestly for the Paragon to come in the form of the different chunks of the stages. So stages 1 through 5, you get that base level boss. It's easy. It's not a big deal. You're able to get those lower level resources, but you're still able to get what you're looking for. Then maybe kind of mixing in what you said with this, you get to stages 6 through 10, and you start to fight the first iteration of a Paragon boss, where you beat it through the first time, and then you have a second phase, and maybe you get to bring a 6th champion because you need to be able to deal with this AoE blast or whatever it may be, and you can obviously do fun cinematic things with revival or adding new enemies to the stage or things like that. Like thinking about the Glade of Kitsune specifically, being that she's some kind of fallen Dark Valkyrie. I thought it would be really cool if there was some kind of scene where 2 other Valkyries come swoop down and revive her, and then you enter the next stage where you're fighting 3 of them, or maybe there's just one extra one.
Yeah.
And then 11 through 15 is the hardest one. You're fighting a 3-stage boss. Now, I think what would be different, though, if I were going to implement that, is I think you'd have to remove the early waves where you're just fighting fodder, which I know that part of the challenge of that is that you're then going to run into what kind of resources do you get to start a level with, because part of fighting them is getting your ultimates ready to go hit the boss, or having your abilities timed out properly to heal, or whatever it is. And so if bosses were just bosses and didn't have that early part, then you'd need to be able to start with some kind of resource acquisition, or it would have to be easier to get, something like that. So I don't know exactly how that would work, but I feel like it would be unique. I don't feel like I've played gacha games or things in the HeroCollector genre where you go into a dungeon and you don't do pre-waves and then a boss. Like it's just pretty typically the format that I've seen. And maybe it's for a reason. Maybe it's really quite necessary. Maybe it really helps keep that balance so that people can actually go fight those things. But if there was a way to turn it into a multi-phase increasing challenge in those sections of stages 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, I think that could be really cool. And then I'd be really excited to hit that threshold and be like, okay, like I'm done with 5. Now, like I got to get ready for a whole new challenge. Like for me, it would keep me engaged. It would give me just a little bit more to do in the game. It can't be like game-breakingly difficult, obviously, because we don't want to turn people away from even trying. But if they're offered another hero to take into the fight, to rotate when they hit the boss, that would, I think, get tricky with autoing, obviously, because how would you tell it how to do that? There are certainly some features. Like I know in Raid Shadow Legends, you could set your skill priorities. So maybe you could have something like that says when you hit phase 2, you swap this one with this one. But I don't know. That was my main one. Paragon bosses. I think something like that would be cool.
Dude, I think that's so cool. I mean, obviously this conversation is probably more of like a pie in the sky down the road kind of thing, right?
Totally.
Totally. that's a lot to probably do. but I just love the idea of like, yeah, because then there's two different challenges, right? There's one of getting through this whatever stage 5, 10, whatever, and preparing for the next phase. But then also, can I build a team that can handle both phases? And then can I build a team that can auto, right? Because I think that's what we're going to be doing. Obviously, as we want to get resources and stuff, a lot of it's going to be auto farming. If you can do it in the background, that's great, of course, down the road. But like, yeah, I think that would be the main challenge. Is it has to be different enough to pose that challenge and be cool. Like, I love the visual of the Valkyries coming down. I think that'd be really, really cool and like really captivating and engaging. But yeah, it would really just be, how do we make sure that it can still be autoed when those resources are something you're going to need to farm? Right. But maybe that's why it's a cool challenge. Because I know, like with Kronos, who's the Pantheon boss, who we haven't got a good look at for a long time, so he might have changed, but every day the affinity switches, right? So you get a different flavor. But this is like constant, right? So then it would change forms, and then like everything, like then you get the final form, right? Like when you get to stage 15 or 12 or whatever it is. So
you saying that made me actually think maybe it's just something you opt into for greater reward. It's kind of like the Rift. Like if you choose to do the Rift, you get that little bit extra. So maybe when I get to stage 6, I can choose to fight the boss as it is, or I can choose to fight a Paragon version of the boss. If I can beat the Paragon version, then maybe that's how I get pages. Maybe maybe I get 1.5 times the resources that I would normally get for the same amount of energy, but a higher risk. Right. I think that actually sounds more plausible, and like it wouldn't be as upsetting. Obviously, opting in general, but opting in with a greater reward. Like there has to be an incentive for trying harder, generally speaking.
Yeah, and I mean, I know Fateless has said in the past, like they want to, make sure players have choices, right? So this is just another way of player autonomy, right? We both play D&D. We know that's a big part of D&D.
Yes.
But that would be another way of giving the players a choice. Hey, if you want to use these resources or risk, not being able to farm it because of this shift halfway through or whatever, maybe that's one way of doing it. So yeah, I think that's really cool. And like, I know there are bosses out there, maybe like Pantheon boss. I'm trying to think of other games, but like where you do just go right to the boss. So you just have to be prepared for that. Like you're not going to have your ultimate or whatever. But obviously all of these ones have been 2 waves and then boss. And I'm assuming that's a pretty tried and true pattern. So it makes sense that they would keep it like that. And I'd really do like the rifts. Like I would want to keep the way it is with some tweaking. But I love the idea of them shifting phases or whatever, and then potentially, like the final form is like the phase 3 or phase 4 or whatever, like later on. I think that's really cool. So I think you're onto something. I think we've got
I hope so,
pretty
man.
good ideas.
Bayless just needs to come and watch this until towards the end of this video. We'll bookmark it just down the road, years and years, man. That'll be cool. Or even take this idea and plop it into your world boss. Whenever we get to do these world bosses, man, make them multi-phase, man. Give me dynamic difficulty.
And there's a game. Well, there's lots of games, right? I think it was a Theory Restart where I'm sure they copied it off of many others, but where you can you can share one of your heroes, and then anyone in your Pantheon, guild, whatever, can use them for certain stages. Bunch of realms, I think.
Hero sharing.
But like when I was talking about bringing in that 5th or 6th person, like I think it should be from our roster. I don't like the concept of sharing because it makes stuff too easy. If you get like a level 60.
Oh yeah, the person max ascended, max awakened,
you just bring
does it by themselves
from your buddy, and then you just go through content. Like I don't really necessarily like that, so I do like it. But that's kind of like where I think that seed came from. Was like, let's bring in that 6th person or that 5th person, but I think it should be from your own roster. So,
I would agree.
So that you're not like overpowering content you shouldn't overpower, right?
But for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's like down the road some type of hero sharing that you could do, kind of like that. So you try people or
Mhm.
different heroes you might not have. But
And
anyway,
there
I
could
don't
be
know.
like a
It's a
cap on it
tangent.
too. You might be able to do like you get the hero, but you don't get them at max ascension and max awakening. You get them at
A level
60
mapping with
or
your like
whatever
overall
your
levels.
high. Yeah,
Or, yeah,
right. Like your
yeah, yeah,
threshold. Or maybe it's based on your like your player level. Like as you personally level up, that shows some degree of moving through the game. And so if you're level
right.
40,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can have a hero up to level 40 or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Other good
cool.
ideas. Other good ideas. Well, any
Yeah,
other
man.
thoughts about dungeons?
Not really. Just in general, I think again, I think it's a really, really strong start to the overall dungeon, our access to the dungeons for the first time, right? I think,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I think they hit the nail on the head 90% of the way,
Yeah.
pretty much. So I think that with a few tweaks, it'll be great. And
Yep.
then like we gave them. I'm sure they've already thought of similar ideas to what we said, but we
I'm
gave them
sure.
some reinforcement on some pretty cool ideas that maybe they can
Yeah.
establish down the road. So that'd be really cool.
That would be really cool for sure. Well, thanks again for coming to chat with me about this. Appreciate the unique thoughts and takes you had on all the different dungeon conversations we had. And again, Fateless, please come watch this video. And I would just be absolutely tickled to see any of this in a roadmap or anything. That'd just be so gosh darn cool.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Thanks again, man. Good to chat with
Yeah,
you.
thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ADHDnDad, which is the coolest, most clever name. A little challenging to say at times, but
just
but
ADHD
if
and Dad. ADHD and Dad. The D and D
ADHD and
is
Dad,
it's snuck in
okay,
there, but it's in there. And if you look at
gotcha.
the name, I put that in red so you can you can plug it out. But you're right.
Perfect. Okay, okay,
Most
okay.
people complain about my name. I have discovered after the
No,
fact that it was not the most cleverly created, but I loved it and it felt
no,
like it embodied my whole self. So
there you go.
I am
It's
it.
clever, but so if you're watching this, subscribe for sure, because both of us are going to be making plenty of videos.
Yeah. BradBodGaming. Go subscribe, check out. He's got a whole bunch of content. His genre is quick videos to get you the information you need so you can get back to gaming and also have a healthy balance between gaming and life. So make sure to go check him out. Until next time, you guys all be safe and be well. And we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, we'll
Peace.
see you.